Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Mike,
Hey, and this is Josh.
and we are Real
Real
Dead.
Dead. Yes.
Hey, it's the time of the year, Josh. What time is it? It's spook time, right? It's
Yes.
Halloween,
Yes.
and we're coming together today to talk about our top 5 movies that either get you in the mood for Halloween or include Halloween in it. So, this top 5 for me is probably going to be different when there may be crossovers for Josh. So, this list could be really 6, 7, or 8, or it may just be 5. I don't know what to see what we pick.
Right. So I do have some honorable mentions. I don't know if you want to do those now or if you want to do them before I say number one, probably, I guess.
You go ahead and give some honorable mentions, Josh.
Okay, so these aren't horror, but these are two movies that I grew up watching that always were Halloween time. And that is Ernest Scared Stupid. I love that movie. I grew up a huge Ernest P. Worrell fan, Mike. Believe it or not. I'm from the North, but I was a huge Ernest P. Worrell fan. I remember my grandfather took me to see this in the theater, Ernest Scared Stupid. And my dad took me to see Ernest Goes to Jail in the theater. So, I mean, I am an Ernest fan, no doubt. Yeah, so I love that movie. I think it does have some cool horror elements. And another cool thing about that movie, Mike, is they reused some of the clowns from Killer Clowns from Outer Space in this movie as the trolls. They just repainted them.
It's been a long time since I've seen that. I got to go back.
Oh, I love it. Dude, Ernest, I love when he goes, ew. So the next honorable mention is Hocus Pocus. Grew up watching that. Me and my sister would watch it every Halloween on Disney
Still have
Channel.
never seen it.
Oh, me and my sister grew up watching it. We love it. Me and Michelle, we watch it still. Like, we'll probably watch it this year. We actually did like the sequel. We didn't think it was that bad. Hocus Pocus is another one. Grew up loving it. So let's start with my number 5. So my 5, I will give this preference. My 5 do all take place during Halloween. That's all my movies do, except for one. But you could say that it takes place during Halloween, I think. So the first one is a movie actually I just watched. And it is silly. And it does have some good gore and violence in it. And it has some okay scares. Some of the stories are silly, some of them aren't. And that is a movie called Tales of Halloween. And it's an anthology. And this will not be, spoiler, be the first anthology movie on my list. It's not great, but it's kind of a fun movie. Michelle, my wife, was there. She said, this is stupid. She didn't like it at all. But I thought it was, for what it was, I thought some of the stories hit good. Some of them were terrible. But there was 10 stories, I think, in this movie, Mike. So
Oh, wow.
you had enough. Yeah. And some of them lasted 5 minutes. Some of them lasted 15 minutes. Like, they weren't long. So, and some of the gore was good, you know. And I think the first story hit pretty good, in my opinion. So that's my first one. Mike, what do you got?
Well, it wouldn't be Halloween without that guy.
Right.
So I'm going to take the easy way out on this and say number 5 for me is Halloween number 2.
Okay.
Very, very, very cheesy to some extent when you go back and watch it now. I watched, was it Joe Blow Horror, one of them the other day, doing a go back and review number 2 and some of the stuff they screwed up on in the movie that I never realized. And I went back and I was like, damn, that did happen in there. Especially the very beginning of it when he walks backwards off the ramp and falls down into the ground. And you're like, I'd never picked up on that until they pointed out. But
I haven't watched that movie in probably 25 years, Mike. We're actually going to review that soon.
Yeah,
so I look forward to rewatching that.
But I do like the way it picked up right off of the first one and kind of went on after that one. But it's not one of the greatest movies ever of all time. It's just one that gets me in the Halloween spirit.
That's good. Do you have any honorable mentions, Mike, or you don't have any?
I mean, I like Ernest Scared too. I mean, I'm the old school Charlie Brown pumpkin patch type guy.
Okay.
So that has nothing to do with horror, but it gets me in the mood for Halloween.
Well, it's Halloween. It's about Halloween. It's not just about horror. You know what I mean? Because we could get on here and you could say, whatever for horror. You know,
let
Halloween's
me
different.
let me give a honorable mention here because it's not in my top 5, and it goes with Halloween 2. The Halloween Season of the Witch, number 3.
Yeah, that one is
I remember
definitely takes
seeing
place
that
out.
as a kid when I was younger, and I didn't think it was that bad back then. Of course, it didn't have Michael Myers in it, but that is one of my honorable mentions. I think the longer it's out and people go back and visit it, it's not as bad as they thought it was.
That's
Just
right.
people love Michael Myers so much that they kind of got a bad rap for not having him
Well,
in there the whole movie.
Imagine that, Mike, calling it a Halloween movie and then doing something else and not giving you Michael Myers in the movie for most of it.
It was a foreshadow. It was a foreshadow for many years later, 45 years later, 40 years later.
So my number 4 is a movie that I really like. Mike doesn't like it very much. I love it, and that is The Witch. And I think the time period. This is
No,
before
it's not
Halloween.
bad. Don't get me wrong. It's not bad. It's just not like one of my all-time favorites. I did watch it, and it was watchable, and it's weird.
So it's like a time before Halloween was celebrated, you know. So like, it was probably still a pagan ritual or whatever it is, whatever. But there's Puritans in this that are shunning people away because, well, they didn't shun them away. The other people thought that they didn't like the way that they were doing things, so they left. And you could definitely tell that this is getting kind of like fallish in this movie. It's kind of cold out. So that's why you could say, well, this could take place in October, September, October in this movie. So that's why I kind of put it on here. It has a witch. It has, witchcraft in it. It has the devil in it. It has, a lot of different
Hallow's
things.
Eve in it, probably the whole.
Right. So that's why I said this
Fall
is
festival.
a good movie. I really feel like this is a good movie to watch during this season because it's kind of like the old school, it's not modern horror, a take on modern horror. It's kind of like an old look at what people thought and believed in back then. You know what I mean? So about like witches and stealing your children and all this kinds of stuff. So that's my pick. The Witch is number 4. What's your number 4, Mike?
Number 4 for me, and this is one that I don't even think you'll watch, Josh, because you don't like this type of horror movie, is I'm going to say Terrifier. Terrifier, even 1 and 2, both take place at Halloween. They're looking at costumes, they're trick-or-treating. Art the Clown, to me, is the best new scary character that's going to me live for years and years and years. Really, I mean, that character has been in some other movies a long time ago, but Terrifier, Art the Clown, and honorable mention would be Terrifier number 2. Both of them are very extremely graphic and gory, and if you're not into that stuff, don't watch it. But if you like that type stuff and it's Halloween, definitely got to watch it because Art the Clown is one scary dude.
Yeah, definite, man. So my number 3 is I had to put this on the list because it's got Halloween in the title. But mine actually isn't what you think it is. Mine's Halloween number 4. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers.
Okay.
I actually really I grew up watching this one, like probably between number 2 and number 4. I grew up watching these the most. These were on AMC constantly growing up. Not the first one. The first one was hardly ever on TV, so I never saw it that much. And the third one wasn't on TV either. I would say the most ones I watched was 2, 4, and like 5. But definitely wanted to give some love to Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I think it's one of the best in the series if you go back and watch them. I think it's really good, actually.
So my next one, which is number 3 for me, is one that takes place around the Halloween season because it mentions it in it, and that is Scream 6.
Wow.
When they're on the subway and everybody's dressed up as Halloween characters. You don't know who the ghost face is. There's 3 or 4 ghost faces on there. There's a Babadook.
I love it.
I think that movie Scream 6 I like it, and it may be one of my new go-tos here at Halloween season every year.
You know what, Mike? That totally didn't even enter my mind, but that movie is steeped in Halloween, no doubt.
Man, Josh, does this look familiar to you?
Yeah, I love that hat. That hat's awesome. I love it.
Yep.
Look at this hat, Mike. I mean,
Trick or Treat. Is that going to be your number one or two?
Well, let's see. Number 2 for me is a movie you might not think of right away, but it is awesome. And me and Michelle just watched it probably about 6 months ago, maybe less. And that is the one that wasn't on my radar until I watched it. And that is Sinister. That movie is crazy. When you're not expecting, when he's watching those movies, and oh my God. And I didn't remember it, but I was reading today, and it said Sinister takes place at Halloween, and I didn't remember that. But so I said, man, that's got to be on the list, and I put it high because I'm telling you, that movie freaked me out. Like when I watched it, like the scene where he's watching the movie, and all of a sudden a guy's mowing, and then all of a sudden you see people's heads down, and you're like, what the? Like that part was crazy, and there was just a bunch of craziness in this Sinister movie. Ethan Hawke
was awesome in that.
He's a phenomenal actor.
Not bad either.
Ethan Hawke's a phenomenal actor in any movie I see him in. You know, that guy.
He was good in Black Phone too recently.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys that's a really good actor, and
that's a good one.
Yeah, Sinister, man. I haven't seen the sequel, but I heard it's kind of like has diminishing returns, but the first one is really, really good, guys. So, Mike, what's your number 2, buddy?
So, number 2 for me, which I think will be number 1 for you, is Trick or Treat. It's one of those that me and my son have to watch every year. Yes, it's kind of like Krampus at Christmas time. Trick or Treat. This one and my next one are ones we watch the week of Halloween a lot of times, but we haven't watched it so far this year because it's not quite October this week.
Right.
We hit October 1st this weekend, but Trick or Treat, great stories in it. They all come together at the very end. Absolutely love it. And it's one of those, I think too, Sam character is one that's going to last forever or a long time. And I would just love for them to somehow come out with another movie for Trick or Treat and somehow combine it and Krampus and all that together. That would be awesome.
Yeah, dude. You said it. My number 1 is Trick or Treat. In my opinion, it's got everything that is Halloween, that encompasses Halloween. You have a town that is known for Halloween in the movie. You have the trick or treating aspect. You have the decorations. You have the costumes. You have the mythical creatures with the werewolves. You have a serial killer, the principal that's a serial killer. You have ghosts in it. You have a new horror character, Sam. You get a horror character out of this movie as well, with everything else. I mean, to me, it is the perfect Halloween movie, in my opinion, because it encompasses everything that is Halloween. The Halloween traditions, just everything. And they mix and blend the stories so well, in my opinion. I mean, perfect. I would love, before they mix Krampus and all that, I would really love to see a Trick or Treat 2. Sam, I mean, there's a demand for this. I don't know why they're not doing it, Mike. And I think you could do something really special with it. I don't know what, but
I can't believe they haven't revisited as much as horror movies do number 2 through 10. I'm surprised they have not put another movie out by now. I mean, it's just, I would say in the next 10 years they have to. I mean,
right.
But I've been hearing for the last 5 to 10 years that we're going to come out with one and never have. So
right. I mean, to me, it's the most perfect Halloween movie you could make and watch for the season, just because it does involve so many things about Halloween. You know what I mean? It just does. So, Mike, I think I know what your number 1 is.
I guessed your number 1. Go ahead and guess my number 1, Josh.
Your number 1 is Halloween, the original.
Boom, the original Halloween. Yes. So many fond memories. I'm 52 years old. This came out in the late 70s, and just from an early age, my mom got me into it. The whole, some people like, Josh and other people think it's slow. They don't like it as much. I get that. I love the whole character, the opening scene with Michael killing his sister. To me, what makes this movie, though, is during the movie, it's not the grotesque and bloodiness of it, because it's really not that bloody and grotesque. It's his character in the background. You know, when the girl's on the phone in the kitchen and you see the door open in the background and you see him 1 minute, you don't see him the next. It's things like that that just, and the very end of that movie when they shoot him 6 times and number 2 they say it's 7 times, but and they shoot him 6 times and then you go and he's not there. I remember seeing that for the first time and just getting cold chills when you look back down and he's gone and the music's playing and you just don't know if the boogeyman's out there, because the boogeyman's gonna come get you. And it's just so many fond memories. That's something me and my son watch every year. It and Trick or Treat, or I think those two, in my opinion, for our family, are the 2 up here at the top. The rest of them are, even 3 through 5 here is pretty far down. We'll watch Halloween 2 or 3 times. We'll watch Trick or Treat 2 or 3 times.
Yeah. Yep. I think you can't go wrong with either one. In my
so we
opinion.
only had one movie that crossed over, right?
Yep, that's it.
Really, this is 9 instead of our top 5. It's our top 5 each, but it's really 9 potential horror movies for you to watch.
Right, and like I said, I mean, you can't go wrong with the original Halloween. You can't go wrong with Trick or Treat. Both those movies are must-watches, I would say, for the Halloween season. I don't know how high you want to go on the Halloween list. You probably want to stay away from the David Gordon Green trilogy, but you probably could go up a couple movies on the Halloween list and be all right, Mike?
We got a live coming up, and this may come out after our live, so go back and watch our trilogy of David Green's last 3 Halloween movies and our opinions of that one as well.
I got 3 words for you, Mike. Evil dies tonight.
Oh, gosh. Evil never dies, Josh. Evil never dies. As your Once Upon a Movie or whatever it's called, I watched a movie says. All right, guys. Y'all have a great one. Tell us your top 5 movies at Halloween that you watch. Even if it's not Halloween in the movie, give us your list of top 5 Halloween movies you watch that have Halloween in it.
Yep.
And then just maybe top 5 scary movies to watch around Halloween.
Sure.
Josh, have a good one, man.
Hey, see you, buddy. Bye.
All right, bye.